We see it basically as four big issues that are being talked about here at Davos and that are frankly the big issues going on. One's the economy, and that has taken center stage in every conversation now. Two, there's two parts of geopolitics here. One is Russia, Ukraine, and the other one's China. And, putting everything together is maybe not right. I think we have to look at each one separately because there are separate issues on those. And the fourth is sustainability. And Jeff, sustainability now, even in the day and a half that I've been here, seems to be taking more of a second or third seat, which I really think should not happen. I think we have to be very, very focused on creating a sustainable world. But the economy is the top conversation. Inflation is a big concern. And you do see some leading indicators starting to slow. All that being said, from our perspective at EY, we're still seeing pretty robust activity. Even though deal volumes have slowed, there are still companies out there looking at different options. Pricing is actually coming down. So there is a lot of analysis work going on as well. And the transformation that companies are going through, the transformations in terms of technology and in terms of supply chain and location of supply chains and de-risking their supply chains, that's still going on, and we do a lot around that as well.
One of the issues that people look to for reassurance around recession risk is just the labour market, and we know that's been a big focus for Jay Powell and the Fed, and they point to the strength of the labour market and they say we're not going to have a recession because the job market is really strong. In terms of your hirings and departures over the last 18 months or so, how has it looked for you? And do you feel that strength is there still in the economy?
For us, Jeff, the labor market for people joining EY is incredibly strong. We had 3 million applications to join EY globally over the last 12 months. 3 million. We hired 150,000 over the last 18 months. But we've also lost a lot of people. Many people coming out of the pandemic are reevaluating their life. They're figuring out what they want to do. And so there is a churn that is going on. But we see a lot of interest and we see a lot of demand in the labor market. So that is the piece that's hard to figure out. But I guess if all the other things are going against it, at some point the labor market has to scale back. But right now we're not seeing it.
Carmine, I'm going to pick up on this Gorgieva line about confluence of calamities, because it's very clear with the COVID epidemic and the horrendous war in Ukraine, there are calamities out there. But I'm wondering if she's also talking about other events which are not calamities, they're just cycles. And actually, we've forgotten that there are economic cycles, that actually a recession can also be a cleansing process, and actually that central banks aren't always going to be there to watch your back. In fact, if anything, the central banks may have gone too far in previous cycles, so they've got no ammo. Now we've got an inflationary surge as well. Did that come up in your conversation?
That's top of mind, Steve, in terms of just what central banks are doing. There are some people who think some central banks are going to overshoot the runway, i.e. do too much in terms of what's really going to happen. They're in control here. I do think central banks can play the key factor in making sure that if we do have a recession, it's more short-term and not harsh. The other thing that's a big conversation also is, how long is some kind of recessionary or some kind of down economy going to last? And the one thing that I will tell you is everything we think about these days in terms of economic cycles are much faster than they used to be. And that's because the world's too connected, there's too much technology going on and so forth. So when people say we're going to be in some kind of downward trajectory economy for 2 years, in my view, it'll probably be 1 year because of how fast things move today.
Let me ask you a very